Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. This week, we're going to start an exploration of a concept that a patron recently asked me about. They asked if I could do a video on the topic of melodic contour. I decided it just wouldn't do to have only one video on this concept, so over the next few weeks, I'm going to be taking you guys through some different approaches to practicing this aspect of improvisation. Today, we're going to be analyzing this stuff through the lens of simple arpeggios and the different ways in which we can break up or displace them to give our improvisations more variety and shape. I'll take you through all the different permutations possible with just the root, third, fifth, and seventh of a chord, and then we'll learn an etude using some of these ideas over the chord changes to all the things you are. You guys ready? Let's get started. In my mind, I think of melodic contour as being the way in which a melody, or in our case, an improvisation, is given shape. Since we're primarily concerned with playing over functional chord changes, we can approach this idea first from the perspective of playing arpeggios on the chord. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar at this point with how to play at least a handful of arpeggio shapes, and hopefully they're inversions as well. Now, just in case you're not, though, check out this quick exercise for playing through Cmaj7 in all inversions across a few octaves. It's super important for us to be able to execute these basic shapes and to understand how they're structured. However, this isn't the only way we can look at playing arpeggios over chord changes. In fact, if you ask me, it gets a little boring to always be playing in one direction or the other. Bebop gets a lot of its sense of swing from how we interrupt the direction of our lines in unexpected or somewhat unconventional places. If you watched any of my videos in the past, you've undoubtedly heard me talk about things like displaced arpeggios. Well, that's really what we're getting at here. Previously, we've only explored doing that with tertiary chords, in other words, stacks of thirds, to create different harmonic tensions and resolutions over chord changes. We can actually apply this idea of octave displacement to our arpeggios writ large. If we take the chord tones of Cmaj7, the root, the third, the fifth, and the seventh, and figure out all the different orderings of those notes, we get 24 unique permutations. Now, that's a whole lot of variation. And next up, I'm going to show you guys how you can practice using octave displacement to create some really unique melodic contours out of just the notes in the chord. This exercise is more of an exploration than anything else, so don't be overly concerned with memorizing every single one of these permutations. Instead, you should work on being able to hear these different sounds when you're improvising, so you're not always stuck playing the chord out in the same way. Also, while there's only these 24 ways to order the notes, there's near limitless ways to do this when you account for all the potential different ways you can split the octave. Here's how I've decided to structure these different arpeggios for Cmaj7. Like I said, it's a ton of material, but don't let yourself get overwhelmed by that. Instead, spend your time trying to improvise these different permutations over a simple cycle of changes. Since we're only ever dealing with 4 notes, these different permutations are the same for all of our main chord qualities: major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, half diminished, etc. Where things really start to get interesting is if we start applying substitutions to get altered or extended harmony for the chords we're playing over, but that's a story for another day. Now, let's look at how we can apply this concept to playing over the changes to all the things you are. Before we get into the next exercise, I just want to give a quick shout out to the good people over at TrueFire.com. In case you're new to the channel, you should know I've recently partnered with TrueFire to develop 2 killer courses that are going to focus on chord accompaniment concepts and how to improve your bebop language over a couple of different 12-bar blues cycles. I'll let you guys know when those are set to release, so make sure you stay tuned for that announcement. But while you wait for my content drop, you should still go check out the site if you haven't before. TrueFire is host to literally thousands of courses on a wide range of musical topics from some really amazing artists and educators. If you use my link in the description, you can get 35% off your purchase of any course, and you'll be supporting the channel at the same time. It's never been a better time to learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Now, let's get back to playing with the next exercise. In this etude, I wanted to accomplish a couple of things. The first was obviously to make use of different broken or displaced shapes for playing each chord. The second was to have a really strong sense of voice leading between each change. And finally, I wanted to keep things rhythmically super simple, so I stuck with a really consistent and predictable motif throughout the whole thing. See if you can identify the order of the chord tones in each cell, how and where I split the octave, and how the voice leading shakes out from bar to bar. Here's that etude for you to take a listen to now. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you've learned a little something from this about how to add different shapes to your lines. A big thanks to patron Dorian Marley for the suggestion for this week's video topic. There's a ton of ground to cover here, so be sure to check back for more next week. If there's an aspect of melodic contour or anything else really that you're curious about, make sure you drop a comment down below and let me know about it. Like I said, I'll be covering this topic from a couple of different angles over the next couple of weeks, so make sure you stay tuned. As always, if you found today's lesson helpful, make sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications. If you want to get access to the PDF for today's lesson, along with the whole back catalog for all the videos on the channel, you can get that over at my Patreon page for as little as $10 a month. Or you just hit that join button right here on YouTube. Patrons also get access to some bonus videos as well. This month, I'll be doing a deeper explanation on the voice leading and structure for today's etude. If that all sounds appealing to you, head on over there and join the studio. I want to give a big thanks to my wonderful studio members: PH, David Zuckerbrand, Max Irwin, Everton Armstrong, Jay Jarek, Bill Jacob, Stephen Schwartz, Jay Montana, Skemster, Cliff Berger, Aaron Walters, Dorian Marley, Orjan Sundqvist, Stephen Prager, and Edson Soares. An extra special thanks goes out to Jazz Luminaire patron Vibhav Babadi. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. I'm David Shore, and thank you so much for tuning into the studio. I'll see you guys next time.